Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So we have a new character skill trailer for Orion. The first time we're going to take a look at some of his skills. So let's go ahead and get into it and break it down.
One step closer to perfection.
Everyone sees my brother Orion as the perfect heir to the Lightbearer Empire. He has the looks, the grace, and absolutely flawless manners. From a young age, he showed an incredible talent for both politics and war. And he is just as brilliant with a blade. Every move is perfectly calculated.
Okay, Specialization already is here. Supreme Arena and AFK stages. So hopefully this means he will be potentially skippable for Dream Realm content if that's what you're focusing on. But Supreme Arena AFK stages, so yeah, definitely warriors, they have a potential there for PvP. If we take a look at some of the info here, he has attack and defense buffs, and he has a silence. Silence is going to be key because silence is one of the most powerful effects for PvP right now. But the question is, how easy is it for him to get it off? And then also, can it hit multiple enemies? So he has synergy with Twins, Eevee, Shadewing, Bonnie. Okay, damage over time. And you know, buffs and things.
Giving his opponents almost no chance to strike back. When Orion casts his ultimate Fatal Waltz, he summons a magical rapier at a target location. For the next few seconds, it unleashes a flurry of slashes on all nearby enemies, dealing damage multiple times. The rapier then erupts in a burst of magic, dealing damage to enemies again and stunning those caught in its range. Every strike he makes is clean and precise, not
Okay, so that was all that we had for his ultimate. I feel like his ultimate is a bit of a low range. It's just literally like 2 tile range, basically circle. It does have a stun at the end. It has some damage, but honestly, I'm not too much a fan of that skill so far. So let's go forward to his next skill.
The strike he makes is clean and precise, not a single wasted motion. When a battle starts, Orion enchants his rapier for a duration. While this enchantment is active, he gains energy faster, and any damage from his skills or normal attacks applies an
You guys are seeing this, is taking damage per time. Even when he's not normal attacking, it's just taking this magical damage kind of like every 0.5, every 0.25 seconds. So that's why the damage over time he has a Shadewing synergy.
independent stacking sear effect that lasts a few seconds. When casting Fervent Flurry, Orion thrusts at the target in rapid succession, dealing damage with every strike. As the Lightbearer Prince,
Okay, so I mean, damage over time is kind of interesting in this skill, but it doesn't seem permanent. It's like he enchants his rapier for a duration, and while it's active, is gaining energy for himself, and also he's dealing damage. Like it seems like instance of damage from his skills or normal attacks applies independently stacking sear effect. The sear effect seems to be damage over time, but the active not really too interesting. So let's carry on to the next skill.
Bearer Prince, Orion knows exactly how to weigh his options and how to win over the hearts and minds of those around him. Whenever an ally grants him a temporary stat buff for the first time, he extends his rapier's enchantment, and that ally becomes his supporter. This effect triggers only once per
Yeah, so if there's temporary buffers, then they're gonna become supporters of his, and it's gonna extend the effect of his enhancement of his rapier, and then it's gonna be causing more damage over time, like for a longer duration, as you guys are seeing here. The damage just keeps ticking and ticking, and like when he has these flames on his sword, that means they are enhanced.
ally. When casting Velvet Glove, Orion briefly charges up before unleashing several magical slashes in a frontal arc, dealing damage. He then gains a shield based on the damage he deals, and all of his supporters receive a shield equal to a portion of his own.
Shielding is fine, although it does seem like a minor amount, and also the portion of shield that will be given to your supporters is probably going to be kind of negligible. So I'm not convinced that necessarily is going to be game-changing or anything.
Once Royal Prerogative is unlocked, every supporter Orion recruits grants him a stack of authority, up to a set limit. Each stack of authority increases his damage dealt, reduces the damage he takes, and makes his sear effect last even longer.
So this is like Perseus. When you give a temporary buff to Perseus, it causes him to deal more damage, reduces damage taken, and then he also ends up dealing true damage. Now here it's kind of the same. When the ally is temporary buffing your Orion, then they will become his supporter, and for each support he has reduced damage taken, increased damage dealt, and also extend the duration of seer effect that he inflicts onto the enemies that dealing damage over time.
Once Royal Prerogative is upgraded, Orion unleashes his full power when his authority reaches a set number of stacks.
And you guys are seeing here that I think he will eventually get an enhancement to be dealing either true damage or HP loss damage, because these white numbers which are ticking, this was not there before. Before they showed about his exclusive skill, it was not ticking, and there's no other hero causing this white damage over time effect. So it must be Orion, who is actually somehow, when he has maybe enough supporters. I guess that's why twins are good for him, because they provide him a temporary buff with the haste, with their ultimate. So here he has 3 temporary buffers, Xandrok, Ravion, and twins. Those would all be his supporters. And that seems to be enough to actually maybe convert some into HP loss damage as his seer effect.
Rapier's enchantment activates immediately and lasts for the rest of the battle. Plus, enemies afflicted by seer long enough will be silenced.
Wait, it lasts until the end of the battle? He unleashes full power when his authority reaches a set number of stacks. The enchantment on his rapier activates immediately and lasts for the rest of battle. So it becomes permanently enhanced, causing your, to keep applying that seer effect. In addition, enemies afflicted by seer for a set duration will be okay.
And have their vitality reduced until seer.
Yeah, now this is very strong. However, keep in mind, he's a one-tile range hero. He's a single target focused hero. The only way to actually silence an enemy will be with his attacks from his enchanted weapon, but that can only be onto one single target at a time. Okay, so, but if you have enough temporary buffs with him, it seems like 3 is what's needed here, or maybe less than that, but like Xandrok, Ravion, and Twins, that's providing him the temporary buffs. And then he has the 3 supporters, and then he has an enhanced, basically, effect that he can also silence enemies. After they've been afflicted by seer for a set duration. But the seer seems to only be applicable onto enemies within one tile range of him. So how will he get to the backline with this? And you really do usually want to silence the backline heroes. However, silencing even frontline heroes like Sulfura, other melee hypercarries, it can be game changing, it can be game winning. So definitely, out of all of his skills, the exclusive skill is definitely the one which is the one to watch. This is the one that could make him or break him. The silence effect is very powerful, because right now there's just not enough silence heroes, and silence completely can shut down specific heroes. And yeah, it could shut down a Sulfura potentially if he's able to trigger this fast enough on the Sulfura. Like if he could somehow silence the Sulfura before Sulfura can even cast the first ultimate, like that would be game breaking. That would be crazy. But yeah, in a lot of ways, he just seems like a Perseus 2.0 with also utility of silence rather than just raw damage and damage reduction and things like that.
Expires. On the battlefield, Orion knows how to win over allies and use their support to achieve his ultimate goal. When fighting alongside allies who can grant temporary stat buffs, he rallies supporters, keeps his rapier enchanted for longer, and builds up authority. The longer this goes on, the stronger his offense becomes. Enemies hit by Orion's moves are continuously seared, their will to fight melting away until they can no longer strike back. As the fight drags on, the chaos of the battlefield bends to his will, becoming just another courtly game he knows so well. Every supporter he wins over, every flash of his rapier, it's all part of his precise calculation.
As you guys can see here, it takes a few seconds before he actually silences the enemy of attacking them. If you take a look back here, so watch, this central enemy is going to be defeated. But then the Viperian eventually gets silenced. So watch Orion. Orion is around here, right? He's right here.
Over. Every flash of his rapier.
Now he's moving on. He's moving on to attack Viperion, right?
Here, it's all part of his precise.
And isn't this kind of like, how is he attacking him from such a range? Why is he attacking like in a 2-tile range here?
Nice calculation.
And then he's silenced. Okay, let's watch on the Bonnie how long it takes for him to silence.
Paving the way to victory. I used to think my brother had simply.
Okay, yeah, as you guys can see, it takes around, honestly, probably around 3 seconds. It takes like 3 or 4 normal attacks. And then the Vitality debuff is off, silence is off, and then it's game over. But yeah, he has to do this one by one. That's what you're noticing here. And that is why Honestly, he's nothing like a Sulfura, which can like boom, ult of Sulfura and is already whole enemy team silence. He's slower, however, he doesn't depend on his ultimate, right? He just needs enough supportive supporters, which just provide him temporary buffs. And if he can get that triggered like within seconds of the battle and have damage reduction like Perseus has, and then also silence enemies, yeah, I mean, that can be pretty crazy. It can be pretty crazy and also a good counter to enemy melee hypercarries. If already melee hypercarries were already bad enough, this is going to be a bigger counter to that. But if you're talking about, like, you know, in the Sulfura matchup of Orion versus Sulfura, you would need to know which side the Sulfura is even placed on. If your Sulfura ends up not contacting with the Orion, then how is Orion actually, if Orion silences Ulna, I don't think that's going to change much. I don't know if that's going to bypass the invincibility. Is it possibly going to, does it bypass Ulna's invincibility if the enemy's silenced? I don't think it does, because I've seen the Sulfura matchup like quite a lot, and I don't think you just eat through Ulna's skills or something, even though they're silenced. I don't know. You guys can let me know if you know any about that in the comment section. But yeah, that's so interesting. But let's just finish this off.
He's grown up faster than I did. Lately, I find him harder and harder to read. There might be a lot more secrets hiding behind that cold, perfect image of his. After all, he's always been good at hiding behind his crown, his sword, and his silence.
Okay, guys, so that is what we have for Orion. He definitely has that interesting tech utility value of the silence of enemies. However, it is going to be one target, one by one. And so if the enemy team has, you know, ranged hypercarriers, I mean, Orion is not going to be able to get to them. Unless there's some skill we're not seeing that wasn't presented in the skill trailer, which is possible with the Supreme Plus if there's some major enhancement or something. But I foresee that as the complication. The other complication is he has damage reduction when he has enough temporary buffers on his team to provide him supporters. The question is, how high is that damage reduction? It has to be very high if you want to be able to have a melee hypercarry like Orion to actually survive. And so really, I think that most likely Orion is going to be a hero that needs to have Ulna with him to protect him, because even you see Perseus has up to 60% damage reduction with enough temporary buffers, but Perseus still gets one or two tapped, like, you know, by other, like Gwyneth, by even Sulfura, like just literally within seconds Perseus can be blown up. And so Orion, I honestly speaking, if we're talking about it realistically, he's probably going to need Ulna support with him. And the question is he good enough to warrant running Ulna? Now, I can definitely say it for players who don't have Sulfura, and you're like, who's the best hypercarry to run with Ulna? It may be, the budget may be Orion, rather if you don't have Sulfura. But if you have Sulfura, you have to run Sulfura with Ulna. And from what we've seen in the skill trailer, there's no doubt in my mind that Sulfura still is a better melee hypercarry than Orion. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm like 99.9% positive about that, because of the fact that Sulfura just immediately, with her ultimate, it can silence the entire enemy team. Orion takes a while, and he can get stuck up on melee tanks and not even silence anyone who's actually meaningful on the enemy team. So that is the thing about Orion, and he's going to have survival issues. He's going to probably need Ulna. And do you want to invest all of that into this comp? Like if you have a Sulfura, it just probably doesn't make sense. If you try running Orion, you could though, however, run like a leftover team with Orion without Ulna. Just have enough temporary buffers, have some support, you know, like Hepler to give him an additional life, you know, things like that, Gerda and tanky things which are going to help his survival. And I can definitely see a strategy like that potentially working into some meta PvP teams. So I'm interested by him. I think that he is definitely going to have some role in PvP meta. It's just the question is he going to be in the tier 1 teams, or is he going to be in the tier 2 teams? Definitely as of right now, he would be in the tier 2 teams. There's no doubt in my mind. He's probably even better than Perseus. However, that is also debatable, right? Perseus just has raw damage nuking. Orion has more of the utility, but is that utility actually enough? So we'll have to see about that, but I do consider him like a tier 2 PvP hero as of right now, which is potentially usable for people like who are limited on the options they have and who do not have Sulfura and things like that. I think that could be then very interesting. But for people who have all of the meta heroes, PvP heroes, I wonder if he's going to be able to fit in and find a place, right, in your teams, or if he's just not going to make the cut to make it into your top 5 teams, even for Supreme League. For AFK stages, I mean, I think that definitely I could see angles for him being usable. Silence can always be useful, but then again, it's Sylphira, right? Sylphira dominates AFK stages right now due to the AoE silence, and Orion cannot do anything close to Sylphira's draw because he can get just stuck onto one enemy target. The problem is really spreading his silence around. Until that enemy basically dies, how will he move on to the next one and silence them? You guys saw that in the team preview and like the, you know, whatever, that battle example replay they showed. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts about Orion in the comment section down below. Are you excited for him? Do you think... I definitely think he's an interesting hero. I actually kind of expected a pure, easy skip, but that is not the case with him. I think definitely there is an interesting angle for him for PvP that I'm definitely open to exploring and also considering. However, I am reluctant to invest into him, especially because Gwyneth, of course, was the best hero of this season so far, also an S level, and Peggy... pretty nice hero as well, and I've invested heavily into Peggy. You know, investing into a 3rd S level for this season seems a bit of overkill, so I'm gonna definitely wait before I pull the trigger on Orion. I want to see that I'm actually gonna make use of him, which right now I cannot safely say that I would. So yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. I mean, I'm excited to actually be able to test him and test against him and see how the meta is going to change, if anything. And of course, if he does happen to have any HP loss damage, like we saw some white damage multipliers in this video, I don't know. Obviously, this was just some sort of observation that we had. It doesn't mean that he has HP loss damage or true damage, but it could be the fact. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Like, and they didn't tag him for Dream Realm in his specialization, so I would find it hard to believe that he actually is going to be a Dream Realm hero. He definitely seems not to be Dream Realm focused, but you never know. For Ravage Realm or something, maybe. Especially any hero that has HP loss damage always has some value to consider. But yeah, guys, that's basically going to be it for this video. So if you have any other thoughts, feel free to share them. Thanks for watching, guys. And if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video in a pinned comment, and you can actually bookmark this link in your browser, and whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link and make your purchase. It will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.